Breaking news, folks, on the Hill Times, and I'm very thankful, and I'm thanking Angie from Arkansas. She tagged me in a post, and wow, well, we're not even getting these feeds in Canada really anymore. They've got some kind of blocker on that. I'm seeing it because I subscribe to the Hill Times. I follow NATO hard. I was at the last NATO conference in the United States, Washington, D.C. Now, Trump went in front of NATO, front of the president of NATO. They had a word barrage here today. Not only did they get a deal from all the NATO leaders, including Mark Carney, Canada, Canadians, you're on the hook for the lion's share of those Patriot missile defense systems. They're not going to be Canadian inventory. They're going to be Ukrainian inventory. That was the agreement. Canada, with its 41 million people, largely off Alberta resource revenue generated by the United States buying our oil. That is going into the federal pot. That's going into the Patriot purchases that are going to Ukraine. It's all over USA News. Hard for Canadians to get. In the link of the title, it's undeniable. What I laughed is the portion I shared just before that, and then Angie tags me in a major post in the United States. Tens of thousands of people liking and loving it. How USA won an incredible deal from the NATO allies. And Canadians, to put in perspective, there are 770 million Europeans in the European Union. And you're eating 1/15 is the population of Canada, 1/15 of that of the EU? The answer most certainly is not. Shouldn't be paying anything, let alone we don't have a European Union trading deal. We have not unrestricted access. In fact, we're restricted on all our major products from trade to the EU. Anyone telling you anything else is a bold-faced liar. What we have is an economic defense agreement where we supply all kinds of resource in the procurement and manufacturing of European defense. And of course, NATO. Now, Canada does owe the United States. Oh, yes, we do. We can go back to 1960 and watch the fall off from what was 4% all the way down to just over 2%. And then when the USA begged us, could you at least pay 2% and stick with that? We cut that in half for decades. Conservative, liberal, it did not matter. They all gutted that spending. They all went fingers up to USA. And now Donald J. Trump says, listen, I was watching the news this morning. He's telling the NATO, president of the NATO alliance, because I was watching the news this morning, and guess who that president is, if Americans and Canadians don't know? Well, that's a Canadian. We're the president right now. We're serving presidency. And if you didn't know, Trump said to that president, that Canadian, for Mark Carney, deal, I'm reading this morning, you're going off about what deal we're going to have. You got your letter. That's our new trade deal. You, Canada, get 35% tariffs. Highest out of everybody. European Union, Mexico, China. Hello. Wake up, Canadians. You've been Mark Carney'd. Right in the back end, and people tell me, how dare you post memes showing Mark Carney with his little thumb penis in all these other politicians' mouths in Canada. Because it's true, Canadians. They're all lining up to suck from the teat. Suck from all of you. We're being cuckolded. We're being screwed over. Is it America's fault? No. I've released lots and lots of study on this that goes back a lot of years. We owe a lot of money. USA can't make us pay that back. No, they can't. But they can institute massive sanctions and trade embargoes against Canada. And Canada, with your limited 11 trade partnerships you do have, you've been cut off. They're all going to go to China or EU, not you, because you're going to be 5% more. We're totally screwed. Inside of 2 years, we're going to be on our hands and knees begging the United States of America for what? Canada, the 51st state. It's there. It's reality. Canadians still don't want to accept it. What do you think 50% tariffs on steel, aluminum, copper do to all of Canada's industries? Ends all our manufacturing at a competitive rate. What do you think 35% tariffs goes? Oh no, but we're protected under USMCA. That the President of the United States can end any day of the week he wants to. He can end that any day of the week he wants to. And there is not a damn thing the Congress or Senate can do about it. It is his constitutional power. It is his personal amendment defined under presidency. Been that way for a long time. Congress and Senate said that was a good idea. You need a major amendment to the Constitution, which means you need 2/3 Congress and Senate. And you also need 2/3 of the states. You're not going to get that. And with the big, beautiful bill, somebody's got to pay those income taxes, those shortfalls. It's all of you. And there's a way out of it. And like Donald Trump says, the best way out of it for all Canadians and Canadian First Peoples, absolutely, as you'd become American Indian citizens with massive land back, self-determination, self-government, where it would be Donald J. Trump and the Republicans negotiating 1/50th of the Crown lands for all of you. If you don't know how much that is, I can assure you for some of you, it's 200 times more land than you currently have now. Yeah, at minimum, it's 20 times the land you have now. 20 times the land you have now, minimally. And that's for those who got great settlements. But I assure you, for the vast majority, it's 300 times more land, especially for all the unceded, all the named and absolutely numbered Indians in Canada. You will get explosive land releases, tremendous powers you could never imagine under the shitty, inhumane Indian Act. And Canadians, after that is done, and relatively quickly, USA has been at it for over 100 years successfully, just like the 50 states of the Union. They started this process too with all the American Indians. There hasn't been an Indian Act in the United States for a long time. They're more than 100 years more advanced in human and civil rights than Canada is. Canada's still in a colonial state. A disgusting perversion. America's done with that. They can settle everything out. When that's all done, then it's moved on to Canadians, which is a tremendous amount of land for all Canadians, really pulling things down. And what would you rather have? Continue funding all these other countries around the world to make up for our shortfalls over the last 65 years? Do you know how much payback without any trade deal that's going to entail? Do you know what that does to our status as a country from arguably first world, which is on a pivotal already? We're almost balanced being kicked out of the G20. They're thinking about saying, you don't belong here. You don't belong here. And you know what? We go to second world, and then quickly it's the third world status. I know Canadians say, it'll never happen. Oh yeah? Didn't happen for Iran. Didn't happen to Venezuela. I can show you dozens and dozens of examples of elbows up, fuck USA, or fuck any of the allies. I can show you from first world or close to absolutely a third world status. And decades of that, and they still can't recover. Where you're either A, if you're lucky, communist, B, you're in a full-on military dictatorship. Suffrage, human suffrage, like you wouldn't believe. And is that USA doing that to those people? That's their own regimes, their own evil, human evil, when you're not constituted properly and you don't know how. And that's Canada. Hate to say it. In our constitutional system, Canada can easily transition, like all the others, into the shit pile. And that's where we're heading. This is a breaking, undeniable video. Mark Carney, Canada, sitting on head of NATO at this point in time, agreed to a monumental amount of paying for the Patriot missile defense system, far exceeding all of the other NATO allies, and yet we still have the highest, largest tariffs coming and imposed on us August 1st. Out of Donald J. Trump's own words, right to Canada's head of NATO, Mark Carney's appointment. What deal? That is the deal. You didn't get the letter? That's your letter, bud. You owe, you pay. You're going to pay. Oh, by the way, you do this deal. You owe us since 1960. You make your choice. You want to save Ukraine. You want to save Europe. You go do that, Canada. You go ahead. But you're going to pay this monumental amount of money, too. That's your new trade deal. Welcome to reality. The ship has left. I've told everybody. I've been preaching this since December 2nd. I told you we're transitioning to pain. Whether it's Mark Carney the liar, or Pierre Poilievre the liar, or Daniel Smith the liar, who's the premier, who's speaking for all Albertans and promising all your resources, all of what little wealth you generate in major deficit spending, how much of that $4.5 billion credit card bill she took out last fall that she's calling your surplus is going to go to Ukraine and the Patriot missile defense system. Well, it just so happens I have that number for you, $333 million. And I can say that's not a big deal. That will be one interest payment when all that money's gone. That's one interest-only payment. Gone. But you got all kinds of money, Alberta. Canada's got all kinds of money, right? We all got all kinds of money. We can borrow, take out more credit cards, Canadians. You don't have to worry. Hey, Texas did this almost 200 years ago, right? They sure showed USA for almost 2 years, didn't they? They sure showed all those Indians, didn't they? Oh, no, they didn't. Didn't work out at all. In fact, they were on their hands and knees begging the United States. And that presidency that was in, and Sam Houston, who had won their independence by way of war, right? He fought, almost gave his life, and then he tried to negotiate that. Oh, Texas said, fuck off, Sam. We're going to make our own way. You don't tell us. We don't need America. Fuck you, Houston. Okay. 2 years later, Sam, we'll elect you. We're sorry, help. Took Sam 8 years, 2 election cycles, at absolute detriment to all of those Texas people. All of them. They went belly up, tits up. They lost huge chunks of their country. And if you don't think it can happen, you haven't read history, North American history. It most certainly did happen. The Texas you see today is a small, little Texas. There's a 33% more it was once. They had to sell and auction all that off to the other states around them. Hey, what was that Louisiana purchase in history? How much of Canada is over that? Isn't that a U.S.-UK treaty? If President Trump can end any treaty he wants, oh yeah, he could end that one too. Especially if Canada ends up in a tits-up scenario. How much of Alberta will be turned over. Saskatchewan, British Columbia, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, cutting right through the Atlantic provinces. How much would have to be turned over and subdivided out to the other 50 states in a compensation scenario where all of a sudden Canada is completely bust? Give it 2-3 years where we don't have those trading relationships and USA's demanding that 33 or 35% tariff so no one's buying our products. Our massive trade to USA doesn't exist anymore. And all of a sudden the rest of the world's going, we don't need you assholes. We got our own system here. Whoever gave you the idea that we were going to trade with you on any major scale and alienate the deals we have with each other? It's never been like that for 200 years, stupids. Do you even read what was Ontario and Quebec's history? I tell this all the time. They were cut out of Europe. They were cut even out of the UK, our colonial masters. There was a point they said, fuck off, East, West, British North America, fuck off. That's why we have massive trade with the USA. It's the only reason we do. And the USA's been carrying this a very, very long time, hoping and nurturing, trying to get us to go 51st state. It's been going on for hundreds of years, 200 years in our history. And now we're so spoiled and elbows up, so blindsided. We need to learn the Texas truth. You need to learn what happened to Texas. You need to experience that, I guess. History repeats itself, and some lessons have to be learned the hard way. Tough love. It's coming. That's my video. Share, share, share. Let's keep trying to wake people up. That's all we can do. All we can do is try to wake people up. This is American news. Lots of it pulled off our feeds. I subscribe to it. I went to the Washington NATO conference. I'm there with Rob Tavoni, witness. I'm in the pictures. I'm in with all of those leaders, all that military in Washington, D.C. Now, could I ever go to any kind of Canadian media or meeting? No. Even though I have high military and police security, great for the USA. Hey, come on in, no problem. But in my own country, fuck off, piece of shit. You're garbage. You're not Crown. Get out of here. We're running the show here. That's terrifying for me. It's terrifying for my children. It's terrifying for the children to come. This country is losing so much ground so quickly. I see the line in the sand. I've seen it for a number of years. It's why I do what I do. But now we're at a point where USA is saying, you're cut off. When do people wake up? Share the video, get it out there, wake up as many as you can. People need to watch it. They don't want to, I get it. They don't. No, it's not true. So all of American media is lying? The President of the United States is just a big liar. Oh no, we know Trump, he's a liar. What has Trump ever not done that he said he was going to do? Think. Quit being a gullible cuck. Get it out there. Credible, real, absolutely 110% verifiable. We're at the edge of the cliff here. There's a point coming April 15th. I'm going to say it again. 2026, where there is a no way back. It will be tits up Canada after that, because USA will not want to entertain it. We'll have to be broke, devastated, diseased, and begging in absolute poverty before they'll entertain it, and they may not. I don't want to get there. I don't want that for my children. I don't want that for grandchildren that could come down the road. I don't want any of that. I don't want it for my own future. It's not what I want for Canada. And this is what makes sense. This is the solution. And we got to roll with it. It's called a reality check. That's my video. Bye now.